Hello everyone. Welcome to this session. I hope everyone had a nice lunch. If you haven't had lunch yet, we're shutting the doors. You're not getting out of here. Well, hello again, and thank you for joining this SmartThings Find session. My name is Philip Leung, and I'm responsible for partnerships and business development at Samsung. In this session, we will talk about how SmartThings Find and the SmartThings Find partnership program have changed in the past year. We will explore some of the new features of SmartThings Find, so you know what is possible when you develop a product with our SDK. Then we're going to guide you to how to start your own new SmartThings Find project. At last year's SDC, we introduced SmartThings Find and the Galaxy Find Network. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's a finding service powered by a community of Galaxy users who signed up to help each other when they leave something behind. When you sign up, you get the peace of mind that in case you do leave something behind, one of your SmartThings Find device, the community will help you find it. Through this service, our users have been finding their lost Galaxy phones, tablets, earbuds, wearables, or one of the many products that are built by our partners. This is how it works. The device that you left behind, it will ping out a signal. Then any nearby Galaxy device, it may pick it up, and then the location of your device will actually be anonymously shared to the SmartThings Find server. SmartThings then lets you know where you left your device behind. It's really simple. And since the last SDC, our lives are slowly returning back to normal. Last year, I had to give this session virtually. This year, I finally get to be here in person. I'm on the road again, and with that, it does mean that I'm leaving my things behind again. At the cafe or at the airport, I know I'm not the only one doing that. Thankfully, our finding network is extensive, and it continues to grow. Our community of finders, it was at 100 million last year. It has doubled to more than 200 million. So our worldwide coverage is actually better than ever. And every week, we get 10 million requests from SmartThings users to help them with finding their device or ringing their device. In the past year, we've worked hard to improve this finding experience. You may have heard about Calm technology from the keynote this morning. It's the idea that technology should just be in the background. It shouldn't be intrusive. So we made a number of improvements to finding to reflect this idea. First of all, we introduced the Left Behind alert, which provides a notification and nudges the users as soon as they leave something behind. Say if you accidentally left your smart tech in a cafe. You would receive a notification on your Galaxy phone or your Galaxy Watch as soon as the tech is disconnected from your phone. This feature is also available to all of our partners so that any products built by them using the SmartThings Find SDK would also be allowed on this feature. And if you do leave something behind, say your Galaxy Buds, you should, of course, immediately open SmartThings app and try to locate them. Oh, and let me just mention one thing. These earbuds, it's really easy for us to lose them when they're in the cradle. So this year, we also made it possible to find them, even if that's the case. Now, if you hit the Find button, and the location of your Galaxy Buds doesn't show up right away, don't keep smashing the refresh button. Simply choose the Notify Me When Found option. Let us take care of the F5. We will activate the Galaxy Find network and deliver your device location to you as soon as it's been found. And don't worry even if you're driving. Through SmartThings Find's integration with Android Auto, the location will even be delivered onto your dashboard. So with just one click, press Navigate, you can navigate via the shortest route. And to protect our users' privacy, we also introduced the Unknown Tag Alerts feature, which informs Galaxy users if any suspicious tags have been traveling with them. This is all done in the background, So just let us do the worrying for you. And what if you still feel a little bit uneasy, a little bit uncertain? You can always open the SmartThings app on a Galaxy or any other smartphone and search for any unknown texts that are near you. Our goal is to help customers feel more comfortable and more at ease by knowing that our technology is in the background helping them out, even if they do forget something. Of course, our users carry with them more than just smartphones or tablets. They have also keys, they have bags, and they have like pets to take care of. And we rely on you, the developer community, to create products that will help keep our customers, keep track of all of these things as well. Many of our first partners chose to use the SmartThings SDK to build their own form of smart tags. And those work really, really great. But it's not always practical or necessarily pretty to put a smart tag onto something that you have. So we built the SmartThings Find SDK so that developers can also integrate it directly into their product. And what makes the SmartThings Find partnership program so powerful for our developers? There are 3 unique points that you should consider. The first one is that SmartThings Find is part of the SmartThings platform. We tie smart finding and smart home together so that users can trigger home automation directly on their device. So say if you're building a bicycle, you can give user a button so that they can directly trigger the I am home scene right on the bicycle. Secondly, developers can leverage SmartThings Find not only for delivering the location data, but also an additional 2 bytes of information for each location transmission. So if your product contains a temperature sensor, for example, it could be the temperature that you're sending. Or if it has a motion sensor, it could be whether motion has been detected. What this could be is entirely up to your imagination. No additional connection is needed for this, just the simple fact that the device works with SmartThings Find. And even though SmartThings Find is a great technology for B2C products, I would invite our developer partners to think beyond the B2C use cases. You can also use this technology inside a factory, a logistics center, a hospital, or anywhere where device tracking is crucial to part of the day-to-day operation. We provide the B2B tools, such as bulk onboarding of trackers, or the dedicated fixed scanners, which can help you scan massive number of devices at one time. So you can improve on the quality of the finding performance. Now, let me hand it over to Sang-in, and he's going to walk you through how you can actually build your own SmartThings Find project today.
Thanks, Philip. My name is Sang-in Lee, and I am in charge of technical communications with partners. I want to talk through how you can easily prototype your new product with SmartThings Find. If you decide that your new product could benefit from the SmartThings Find and the Galaxy Finding Network, then let me briefly explain the 3 steps you should take to participate in the SmartThings Find partnership program. First, let us know that you are interested on smartthings.com/partners. After we complete some basic paperwork, we will share the SmartThings Find device SDK and the tools you will need on GitHub. With the SDK, you can build and you can prototype. Lastly, when you are happy with your product, submit it for a quick check. Once your product passes the Works with SmartThings certification, you will be ready to commercialize. It's really simple. So let's look at each of these steps in more detail. Here on screen, we have the SmartThings Find device SDK. This is where you will begin your journey and where we deposit all the resources you will need. If you go into tech support, you will find a welcome page. We recommend that you start from here. This page provides an overview of SmartThings Find, introduces repos provided, including Q&A processes and bug reports. Finally, it explains how to develop a prototype and what to consider when developing commercial product. You can also take a moment to review the SmartThings Find device specification if you want to learn more about the tag behavior. Then go into Tag SDK repo and download the latest SDK. Then simply apply this to your VLE chipset SDK. And in the test suite repo, you can download the latest test suite APK. Set this up on your mobile so you can use it for testing later. Now you have all the resources you will need. There are 3 key steps to your development. First, create and set up your project on the SmartThings developer workspace. Second, build the Premiere with the SDK and download it to your test device. Third, test Premiere with the test suite. To start, go to the SmartThings developer workspace. Create a new project for device integration. Pick the mobile connected integration. Next, you will set up your project. On the device profile, specify whether your device will be VLE only or it will also support ultra-wideband. On the device onboarding, customize your device's onboarding experience in SmartThings by uploading your own product images, user instructions, and brand name. You will also be asked to fill in some basic product information under the Product Info tab. After you complete all of these, you can go back to Overview tab. Then, press Deploy to Test button to move on to the next stage. It's now time for you to create a test device. To do that, choose Register New Device. The pop-up will ask you for a serial number and a public key. To get this, you will need to go back to Tag SDK you have downloaded. There is a key generator included, and you will use that to generate serial number, private and public key. These will be used to identify your device. Copy the serial number and public key to the pop-up in Developer Workspace. Then, also update your test device Premiere with this information. If you are using the test suite, you may want to take the time to create device configuration file for test suite as well. You should now open the IDE on your host PC and build the Premiere for your test device. First, let me bring you inside our SmartThings Find device SDK. In particular, I want to highlight the SDK core and the SDK port. SDK core includes 3 GATE services: Tag State Manager, onboarding, encryption, and all the core operations required for your device. We already have done most of hard work in the SDK core. Here, you will have to do 2 things. On the right-hand side, inside tag config, there are 2 important configuration files. Tag onboarding config is a file that reflects your device onboarding setup. Remember, you already specified how this should work. So head into the developer workspace. On the overview, you can download the tag onboarding config file. Take this downloaded file and replace the default one that came as part of the SDK. Then there is a tag device info file. Tag device includes your device's identity. Earlier, we already updated this to reflect the serial number and private key you created. The other area is the SDK ports, which include hardware, OS, and chipset-related interfaces. Here, we also provide skeleton code. But here, the gold boxes reflects the area where partners should modify the port functions to suit their board. Here, I want to show you one example of a tag SDK core function. This is part of tag control GATT service that check access permission and call the proper handler function. For example, this function handles ring the tag request from smartphone and deliver it to the sound player in the SDK core. Thanks to this logic, user can hear ringing on the tag. To ring the tag, hardware operation is required. So finally, SDK core will call related function in the SDK port. In this port function, the combination of BLE chipset SDK API will be used for the call. Second example is for battery level check with to-do comments. Here we provide skeleton codes to get ADC value and convert it to battery level. But you have to modify and optimize it for your board. Once you are done modifying, compile and download the firmware for your test device. With that, you already have a prototype. That was pretty easy, right? It's time to do some testing. Test Suite is a powerful tool for developers because it allows you to check success for each functions and leaves a detailed log of success or failures. Open the Test Suite on your mobile and upload device configuration file you created. Then you'll be able to run through a list of test cases. When you have finished, we also recommend you to try testing with the SmartThings app directly, just to make sure that the user behavior, such as the onboarding, aligns with what you had in mind. Once all the testing is out of the way and you are satisfied with your new product, you can go back into the developer workspace and request for us to publish your product. By publishing your product, you will be making it visible to millions of SmartThings users. It's a big moment. So before that, let us help you to do one final check. The WWST certification process is there to provide another check that your device works well with our platform. To trigger this process, first, fill out the application form and self-test checklist using the template we provide. Then press Submit Request button. Our certification testing lab will work with you together on testing your devices. This process will be typically completed within 10 working days. Once your product is certified, SmartThings users can see your product logo and name, as you can see here with our first partners, Solem and PagePro. You will be able to register commercial devices by inserting bulk serial numbers and public keys. Time to wrap up. Visit us at smartthings.com/partners and click Get in Touch. Don't forget to specify the partnership type to be mobile connected. We will then provide support on the SmartThings Find device SDK, the tools, and answers of your questions. Thank you.